The Lions snagged their first W on the season. Let's Talk Lions. Welcome back to an all-new episode here at Let's Talk Lions. My name is Jay. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. If you are indeed a Lions fan, thanks for liking the video, all that crap. Now, the Lions have snagged their first W against Washington. We're 1-1, baby, which last year this time was not the case. The Lions are 1-1, and I gotta say, our offense is looking potent. Can you say it like that? Would that work? Yeah, it works. I don't care. That's how we're looking. The Detroit Lions offense looks good. We look good. In the last two games, the Lions have put up 35 plus points. Week 1 and 2. 35 against Philly, 36 against Washington. Last year, we did not eclipse 35 points, but one time, and it was in the last game of the season against the Packers. We scored 37, and it's because we're playing half of their backups. So, for the most part, the Detroit Lions didn't even eclipse 20-plus points. There were 6 games that we could have won if we just hit 20-plus points, maybe 5 games. But what I'm getting at is, within the first 2 games of this season, the Lions have put up 35-plus. I would say that Ben Johnson calling the offense is paying off early. We knew that this offense was going to be different. We knew it was going to be a little bit more high octane compared to what it was last year, but giving Goff some receivers, the extra guys like Chark, who, though we haven't seen a ton of them, we do know that he's pulling the defense in a different direction compared to last year. Hawkinson's not getting as many targets, which we'll get into. St. Brown is seeing the ball. This Lions offense as a whole just looks better. It is better. 35 plus points 2 games in a row. Can we keep that up against Minnesota? That's a good question. We will have to find out. Now, there's a lot that I could talk about. I could pretty much sit here for 35 to 45 minutes just rambling about yesterday. Not going to do that. Picked a few things that I want to discuss. First and foremost being our O-line. We knew coming into this week that 3 out of our 5 starters on the O-line were down and out. We knew that Ragnow, Jackson, and Vaitai were gone. Kramer also had gotten hurt, and he wasn't a starter, but there's another O-lineman gone. So we knew that 3 out of our 5 were out. And quite frankly, I was worried looking at this O-line saying, now we need some guys to step up. Those people being Stenberg, who got to play against Philly last week, Evan Brown, and Dan Skipper. 3 guys who had to step up and fill some pretty big shoes. These 3 guys were given an opportunity to prove themselves yesterday, and quite frankly, they did. Don't get me wrong, there were faults, there were issues, there were problems, we all saw it. However, as a whole, this O-line, these backups, these second stringers, stepped up and did their job. I mean, look at Dan Skipper, for instance. You saw probably the post-game video of everybody chanting Skip in the locker room. Dan Skipper has played on 6 different teams. He's never started in the NFL. We watched him get cut from the Lions during Hard Knocks this last year, and I can remember him saying, is there anything I could have done different? What could I have done? And it's the harsh reality of this game that, I mean, these are guys trying to make a livelihood, and for Skip to then get put back onto our practice squad, we pick him up, and then week 2, he comes in, makes his first NFL start ever, and plays a heck of a game. And is able to get out there and do work with the opportunity that he was given. It was awesome. In a position that he never plays, that he doesn't play, Skip got out there and did absolute work. So congratulations to him. Honestly, to Evan Brown as well, and Stenberg. Don't get me wrong, as I said, we saw faults. We saw issues. I watched, I believe it was Stenberg, who got absolutely pancaked one play. You watched the D-line just absolutely crush him to the ground, and Goff gets, I'm pretty sure he did just get rid of the ball, but I mean, you could tell, all right, these are our second stringers. However, for second string, those fellas did work. They did well, and it was awesome to see all of their hard work pay off. Congratulations to those 3 fellas on the O-line stepping up, filling huge shoes. Next up, Hutch. Friggin' Hutch, man. I've talked about this way too many times here, but I've just waited so long to see the Lions oppose real pressure to an opposing QB. It's been years. It feels like it's been eons since we've had actual pressure applied to the opposing quarterback. You know that's all I wanted in the draft. In the draft, I said it 100 times. I just want somebody to get in there and make that quarterback throw it, to allow our secondary 1 to 2 extra seconds where they're not holding on for dear life, where the QB can't just stand there in the pocket, find the guy who gets free and throw it. Like, it has been forever, it seems, since we have had that, and we got that in Hutch. Hutchinson throws 3 sacks on the day. It's a record for a Detroit Lions rookie, seeing that many sacks in a game. It's just so nice. I don't even know how to express how wonderful it is as a fan to be able to watch Hutchinson get out there and absolutely decimate and get to the quarterback. Getting 3 of those sacks the QB hit, all of it. Hutchinson, man, he's our guy. He's our guy. And thank God we got him, because he's killing it. And it's crazy because last week after Jalen Hurts, heard a lot of people overreacting on Monday saying, oh, he only had 1 tackle on the day. Is he even that ready? Is he ready? Is he that good? And Aaron Glenn said, I'm not worried about him. I'm not worried about him at all. He's going to be great. He's going to be just fine. And here we are 1 week later, and he's just fine. Aidan Hutchinson is a beast. Thank God we got that man. That sort of just blends into our D-line as a whole. Charles Harris as well, who stepped up last year, stepping up again this year. He was the one who got the strip sack in the end zone against Wentz. We get that safety. We get the ball back. Charles Harris is stepping up in a huge, huge way. And I think this just goes for our D-line in a lot of areas where, man, we have struggled in the past, and seeing these guys develop, getting better. Lee McNeil getting better. I can't wait to get Romeo Okwara out there. That's a guy that I just sort of forget about that we even have on the roster because we haven't seen him since Balti last year. And I'm like, man, once we can get Romeo out there, it's going to be nasty because it's already a dirty crew. So I'm very excited to get that. Yesterday we had a total of 4 sacks, 11 QB hits, and an absolute desolation of the Commanders' run game. Let's freaking go. Next up, we got Amon Ra St. Brown. Man, we got a guy in St. Brown. And listen, you've all heard now 100 times from every commentator or Lions YouTuber or anybody across the NFL that he is one of 3 wide receivers to have 8 receptions in 8 consecutive games. NFL record. This is history. This is great. Put all that aside. Put that record aside. Put it all aside. Just look at him. Think about his skill set, his versatility, his reliability. St. Brown in the 4th round. What a steal. St. Brown is an absolute stud. I just can't even with this guy. 9 receptions, 116 yards, a little bit over 12 yards per reception. He had 1 reception that was for a long of 49 yards and 2 TDs. It's just weird to be excited about this offense. It is. It's just an odd feeling that there is momentum here in Detroit, offensively speaking, which it just hasn't been that way in a couple years, man. And it's exciting. Between him and Swift, we are going to enjoy these guys for years to come. As long as, injuries are barred, there's no problem there. Man, we're going to have some studs here in Detroit for a bit. Defensively, there is still work to do, but we got to give credit where credit is due. The Lions' defense in the first half was lights out. Legitimately lights out. 22-0 in the first half. The defense was able to absolutely shut Washington down. Shut the Commanders' run game down, the pass game. They had a total of, 30 some odd yards in the first half? That D-line, our D-line, did work to the point where the secondary's work had to be limited. Linebackers Rodrigo and Anzalone played well, made some solid hits. Deshaun Elliott looked great. Saw him a few times applying pressure to Wentz off to the side, which is just absolutely lovely. I think the number one area that we struggled defensively yesterday was the secondary. And really going into that third quarter where we saw Washington come to life and they start putting points up. However, Will Harris was the guy getting picked on because he was playing for Amani Oruwariye, who had hurt his back last week, couldn't start. So Will Harris gets the start opposite of Jeff Okudah. And you could see him struggle. He was getting picked apart a little bit early. You could see Wentz going for where Will Harris was. I mean, it's the right move. Obviously, Harris gets that pick, which was just a weird one in general because it looked like it ricocheted off a dude's face. It was like through his hands, off his face, off of somebody's shoulder, into Will Harris's hands. At least that's how I remember it. Maybe it didn't go down like that at all, but we need Harris to step up if Amani's going to be out for a bit. As I said, Rodriguez continues to look good. Elliott made some nice plays, some nice pressures off to the side. Swift is going to be a blast to watch for years. And lastly, TJ Hutchinson. I mean, listen, man, I want to pay Hawk the big bucks, but we can't. You got to earn them. And Hutchinson is doing everything in his power not to earn those dollars. Like, the amount of dropped passes and the ones that he caught, like, right at the line. I'm just not seeing anything out of Hutchinson that I want to be seeing. We need TJ Hutchinson to step up in a huge way because right now he's floundering to the point where I'm sitting there watching, wearing a TJ Hutchinson jersey, and I was like, well, this just hurts. Should I take this off and just go put on Amani's jersey even though he's not playing? Or Barry's jersey? I don't know. TJ Hutchinson has to step up. We need him to elevate his game. Be better. Just need him to be better right now. But that is it for today. Again, we could go so many different directions, but those are some of my initial thoughts regarding the game. How'd you guys feel? How do you feel about 35 plus points 2 weeks in a row? Can we replicate it one more time? I'll see you later this week where we'll break down the Minnesota game. And if there's any news regarding injuries, O-line, I'll keep you updated because that's what we do here at this channel. But yeah, that's it for now. Rings of Power. Maybe I'll do a Rings of Power breakdown because I know some of you are interested. A lot of you aren't, but that's it, man. It's, episode 4 was really good. I think episode 4 is my favorite episode thus far. We're starting to get into the thick of it. God, it is so visually stunning. Love the friendship between Durin and Elrond. Very excited to see where we go from here. We all know Numenor's going underwater, so